Hello, welcome to this next edition of HealthSeeker Sparks. An interesting one this week. We're actually looking back last week at a session that we did at the Elevate conference. Paul Swainson is joining me. He chaired the session. Paul is an education project specialist at Future Fit Training. But Paul also helped me to develop the HealthSeeker coaching course a few years ago. So we worked together very closely on that. And then Paul hosted the session. Welcome, Paul. Hello. How are you doing?
It's got to keep you.
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, thanks. A bit warm. On the session as well with us were Nick Denslow from Active Mid Devon, fitness or health and fitness lead, I think, at Active Mid Devon. We did want to get some of the other accelerator operators, but we've heard from them as well on HealthSeeker Sparks. So Andrew Dare from LED, Francisco Moya from Rustique. We were joined last minute by Simon Beer from Big Wave Media as well, who gave us some insights. But as you can probably tell already, it's just Paul and I on this call. But the people in the audience had some great questions. There's some really good interaction. But we thought if you weren't there or you missed it, there's a couple of people that I bumped into afterwards that says, I was coming to that session, but I got distracted by a Technogym stand or a bottle of Lucozade. So we thought we'd put this out on video as well for those people who missed it to catch up, or those people who did see it to recap. So actually, as Paul, you hosted the session, I'm going to throw to you and ask you to do a bit of an intro agenda, what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so as you say, I hosted the session last week, and the idea was to explain to people what HealthSeekers is all about. So we did an initial role play, which we'll do shortly, just to give people a bit of context and insights to what it looks like, how it works, and the market that we're looking at here. Then we looked at from an operator point of view. So we asked Nick a few questions about how he interprets the program or how he sees the program, how it works in his facilities, and looking at some of the successes, some of the challenges around the program as well. And then we also delved into the marketing and the language and the positioning of HealthSeekers as a concept. So that's where Simon's input was really useful.
Yeah, the role play was a really interesting idea of yours. Should we try that again, just for the viewers?
We give it a go. Yeah, I'm sure Oscar nominations, they're in the post, aren't they? But we can always improve.
Yeah. So yeah, the idea was we actually had two scenarios. One, a traditional or historical, perhaps, gym sale. And then the second one is more of the health seeker angle. So see if you can spot the difference.
Yeah. So we set the scene that I was a middle-aged, sedentary, unfit gentleman who's looking to improve his fitness or think he needs to improve his fitness. So I was going to contact my local gym, and how it goes. In we go. So hello, my name is Paul. I'm in my late 40s. My wife said that I probably need to get a bit fitter and I'm probably a bit healthier as well. So I'm hoping that you might be able to help me.
Okay, listen, we've got a nice pool here. We've got a gym. We've hundreds of classes every week. And at the moment, there's no joining fee. And membership includes all of these great benefits for people to get healthier and fitter. And what's more, we've got a free induction. So that's going to get you started. If you're not really a gym person, that will really get you going in the gym and to help motivate you. How does that sound?
I'll be honest, I'm not really a gym person at all. I don't really exercise. It doesn't really appeal to me. So I'm not too sure it's going to work.
Okay. Can I give you a price list though, Paul?
Yeah. So give me the price list. Maybe I'll take it away and think about it. Scenario one. Quite familiar to a lot of operators, I imagine.
So part two, let's spin that a little bit and do it more from a health seeker's angle.
Hey, here we go. Hi there, my name's Paul. I'm looking to get a bit fitter, perhaps a bit healthier. My wife says I need to get myself down the gym, so I thought I'd come and find out a bit more about what you do.
Okay, you say fitter, healthier, and you mentioned your wife has sent you, but why do you want to be healthier, Paul?
I guess as I've got older, I've realised that I've got a bit less energy. I've perhaps put on a bit more weight than I would have liked to. So yeah, I just need to feel a bit more energized and a bit more able to deal with daily life, I guess.
Okay, so you've got more energy. Is there any particular part of your health or your fitness that you think you'd like to work on?
I guess I probably need to move or be a bit more active. I'm not really a gym person, but I know I probably should do some exercise and probably improve my eating as well.
Okay, listen, that's cool. Most people aren't gym people, right? But there are a couple of options that we've got that might help you to get started, help you learn a bit more about yourself, help you know a bit more about yourself. One takes 1 minute. It's a very quick survey, effectively, or a form that you can fill in that will tell you about which aspects of your health that you might want to work on. The other one is more of a half an hour chat and health check with one of our coaches that, again, would give you a bit more information, a bit more direction, and would help work with some of your choices and ideas. How do either of those sound?
And yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like it would give me a good start point and also highlight some of the areas that I perhaps need to focus on. I think that probably works. I still need to join the gym though.
Absolutely not. No, both of those. In fact, the Daily 100 Health Check is just something you can do now. It will give you some ideas and you can go away and work on those. The coaching session normally costs £30, but we've got a number of those that have been funded at the moment. But no, you don't need a gym membership.
Sounds ideal for me then. Where do I get started?
Right, let's go. So yeah, hopefully you can see a little bit of a difference in the two conversations. Yes, the first one is a bit more pointed. We are trying to sell memberships. But one of the whole things about HealthSeekers is no need to join the gym. And we'll get into that a little bit more in the messaging. So what else did we chat about, Paul? What was the next?
Just to expand on what you just said there, I think that was one of the keys that we wanted to get across in the session was that this isn't just about a subtle shift in sales approach or just asking more questions to the potential member, in inverted commas. This is about an entire kind of shift or a reframing of how we approach and communicate with a huge market, which is the people that don't want to join a gym, but do want to be fitter or do want to be more active and be healthier. So it's a whole shift in thinking, which sometimes requires a bit more thought than just asking a few more questions, essentially.
Yeah. Cool. So after that, so Nick gave a very good definition of health seekers, which actually you can hear on the HealthSeeker Sparks episode with Nick. But what did we get into after that? Remind me.
So yeah, then we moved back onto yourself to ask why, based on that kind of health seekers being, broadly speaking, somebody that, as I say, doesn't want to join a gym, but does want to get more active, wants to improve their health, what products are available for them or what solutions are available to them. And that's where we led on to your brainchild, if you like, which is the HealthSeeker Accelerator program. So we delved into why you came up with it in a bit more detail and then what it looked like. So over to you on that.
Sure. The why, always start with why, as lots of wise men say. In terms of the HealthSeeker Accelerator, why we're doing that, operators need practical ways to engage this missing majority. The 66% in the middle here who don't want to join the gym. We've got 17% in our gyms, and they're fine, and we are working hard at retaining them. But HealthSeekers gives operators this structured way to engage this missing majority. The program is not theory. We have been talking about it for a while. We've run some trials, we've run some pilots, but this now is implementation and commercializing the HealthSeeker opportunity. And it's also growing a network of operators who are working on this, who are sharing what they're doing. We're setting recommended pricing for the HealthSeeker products, and we're basically building with operators a new operating model. So it's not just a marketing campaign where we are inviting people into health checks. It's actually helping operators to evolve from, as you say, Paul, membership into coaching-led interventions to help more people to be healthier.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this shift towards over the last few years. That was a big theme, has been a big theme of Elevate for the last kind of 5-6 years. And lots of people talking about it. Everyone agrees that it's a good idea. We should have more alignment with the health sector. But there's lots of rhetoric around it and not a lot of kind of tangible solutions, products, and fully thought out models to actually implement this. Whereas HealthSeekers is something that fills that gap really neatly. We obviously put a lot of thought into the structure of it. So it's not quite a plug and play model, but it's certainly something that operators can say that this is how I tap into this shift that's happening in a real way.
Yeah, absolutely. There are plug and play to it, if you like, but we were very keen, and I was very specific on the operators that we chose and are choosing going forward to work on it. It is helping to develop it. It is sharing it. There will be plug and play models. Those are parts of it. But yeah, it's important that it is a collaborative approach with the operators that are on it. And yeah, in terms, so the second part of your question, how does it work? We're creating healthier communities. We're building more resilient businesses, but it's underpinning. It's not a pipeline to bring more members in. It's really a bottom up approach that helps make businesses more resilient and more commercial as well. But the how it actually works, I'm not going to go through all the detail, but in a nutshell, we help operators to get 100 people engaged through the Daily 100 that we're on at the moment. And each site on the HealthSeeker Accelerator program is then looking to engage or convert 30 of those into health checks. So actually bringing people into the facility and coaching them, measuring them. And then there's ongoing support and progression through things like 1 month to a health view and feel 5 years younger. So 100 daily hundreds, 30 health checks, and then progression onto programs is the how it works. But this is all underpinned with staff training on the course that we developed with Future Fit. We're also providing marketing assets. So a lot of the logos and stuff you see here has been developed by Big Wave, which is where Simon there came in. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's sharing the learning. So getting on monthly calls, one-to-ones, but group calls as well with all the operators in the program saying, this is going really well. This has been more of a challenge, and listening to each other and learning. So I think we then got into a bit more of the successes. Nick talked about it a lot, didn't he, Paul? The kind of the successes and lessons.
He talked about the daily 100 as being quite a key part of it. Just that initial first step has been really pivotal for them.
Yeah, Nick loves the daily 100 as a step to what he was talking about. Was it's hard to invite people in for a health check. You've got to cross the threshold of a leisure centre, which for us is it's a great place to be. But for a lot of people, it is a really big leap. So looking at the daily 100, this is an example, and this is from quite a few weeks ago. Are way beyond 100 days logged and 33 users now. But it's really interesting to see some of the stats here that some of their existing members and some health seekers that are filling this in are seeing their score come through. And what this does, and in terms of those successes that we chatted about last week, it's really getting different conversations to happen. So people are coming in with their own personal score, and they might be jumping on the Tanita or the body tracks or the InBody or the Seca. All those different scales are at the operators we're working with at the moment. But the conversations are different. We're talking more about health and confidence and support. And through the whole program, we're reaching new audiences. It's a big success. It's people who wouldn't normally respond to a gym campaign, which Simon talked a little bit about. Paul?
Yeah. Basically, it's the marketing of it and the language that you use is really key, because as soon as you start using words like fitness, exercise, workout, that's going to alienate a lot of people, i.e. the 66% and perhaps even that aren't even interested in improving their health. So yeah, there's a huge market there that aren't going to be switched on by that kind of language. So we need to move the conversation more towards health measures, and even the daily 100 activities in there, but it's one of 5 measures. So it's important, but there's a whole bigger framework around health, which gives people other things to focus on.
And we see this pretty much across the board at the moment. Activity and training generally are good. Recovery is normally the kind of middle one that people want to work on more. But nutrition and hydration, back to Paul's example in the role play, nutrition you talked about, but actually hydration is nearly always the score that people would benefit most from working on. And that's a real discovery for us and a lesson, you think. I've known that from seeing people come in and have health checks and see their hydration scores. But this comes from just this quick 60-second check that people fill in online, and it gives them that hint. And hydration it's the easiest thing to work on, way more easy than doing a workout or training. The other success that Nick talked about a lot, staff engagement, is a big one in terms of the staff who are doing the coaching. Also the front of house staff in sites that are running the program are finding that they have more purpose. They're enjoying helping people, and they're having, I've alluded to before, they're different conversations, but they're more meaningful conversations. They're not just selling memberships. It's not transactional. It's much more, most people working in the fitness industry are here to help people. And if we give them ways of helping more people, they go home happier. And it does improve retention of staff and therefore of members as well. But that staff engagement piece is a really big success that's come out of the accelerator so far, and will continue, I'm sure.
Yeah, that goes back to what we talked about before about this reframe. So it's not about how do you sell more memberships, it's how do you help more people in the community. And then the side effect, if you like, from that is that you bring more people in that community. Some of those people might never have joined the gym in the first place anyway, but of those health seekers may go on to join. So there is some kind of commercial benefit in there. if you want to look at it like that. But that shouldn't be seen as the main aim or the main purpose of it.
So, well, just quickly jumping back to the programs, the 1 month to a healthier you, the Feel 5 Years Younger programs are commercial programs. They are priced at £30 a month, believe it or not. Whereas Feel 5 Years Younger, the recommended price for that is £99. So these are programs that are underpinning memberships. Yes, people might join, but actually people can just roll on these memberships, which I did talk about after our session. The next day, I growled into a microphone because I might have been a bit hoarse on the Thursday with Andy King on the Future Fit Conveners podcast and talking about funding and things like that. So you can have a listen to that as well, if you like. What else was there? Simon Beer had some good questions and answers, Paul, as well. Do you remember those?
So we were talking more about again, going back to the positioning of how you market, for want of a better term, health seekers, to make sure that you're attracting the right people. And from the operator's point of view, looking at how you get the message out there as to what the offer is and how you connect those people. And as he pointed out, people don't know what they don't know. So it's very difficult to go out and tell somebody who's not a gym member and is not interested in a gym about a product that is being delivered by your gym or by your gym staff. So that is quite a challenge. But I think he was more talking about the kind of setting up the whole, not brand as such, but it's raising awareness through kind of community outreach, or looking at different ways of community outreach and different ways of advertising your products and the services that shift it away from being a gym that's just about joining for a membership or just about getting fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And language matters, as you said earlier, and simplicity. The simpler, the better for the leisure industry, but also for the consumer. But we had an example of a flyer that a gym came up with working with Big Wave, and we did pull it apart a little bit, Dean Martin and myself, working on HealthSeekers, and said, look, it's fine. You're talking about golf and swimming and joining today, but that's the before on the left, and the after. We dropped that in and said, look, we really want to lead with the Daily 100, which is the QR code. I wouldn't scan that one. We've got one for you in a minute if you do want to try it. But it's in quite a small writing. I quite often go bigger on no need to join the gym there. But also showing that program, showing that you can get a score, you can come in for a health check, and then we've got programs for you if you want them. But overall, another lesson is coaching just beats selling every day. People will respond better and will be more engaged when they're listened to. So coaching, it builds trust, and trust builds engagement way more than our first role play of, do you want a membership? There's no join fee and you get a free induction.
Yeah, it's trying to put all the value on the monetary cost of a membership, thinking that's the barrier, which it isn't. You almost, in an extreme way of looking at it, you almost want to go the other way and actively say, do not join the gym. We don't want you to join the gym. This is actually going to work better for you.
Yeah, that's right. And we've sent out lots of text invites, push notifications, emails saying no need to join. We've got 30 funded health checks this month. They're worth £30. They're exclusively for people like you. And people coming in going, what's the catch? It's that there is no catch. We want you to be healthier. People don't believe that a gym is doing some kind of campaign without a catch. But as I said earlier, it is a campaign initially, but it's the follow-up and the process and the what happens next. Because just coming in and getting a health check and then being sent off to do park run, it's fine. But what we'd like you to do is to do a handful of park runs or to drink more water or whatever other health intervention, and then come back in for another health check, which again may be funded. And in the fullness of time, I'd love to see that kind of model where we're paying it forward and people that can afford it are buying them, people that can't get them. But at the moment, we're building the commercial model. It's not a funded program, effectively. So yeah, the Daily 100, again, we've chatted about this a few times on this podcast. It's a couple of things. It is a data collection tool, but it's also evidence and saying, Paul has filled this in. And Paul, you have filled this in.
I have, yes. Yeah, I scored 67 a few weeks ago.
So yeah, very good. But people like you who score 67 really benefit from coming in for a health check. So it's finding out a bit about you, but it's also knowing that Paul, as opposed to 4 other people at Future Fit, Paul has filled it in. So he is interested in his health. So we are going to follow up with Paul and try and convince him to come in for a health check more than the other people at Future Fit who maybe haven't filled it in if we're going for a corporate setting. But that's another part of the program. I'm just trying to think what else there was from the session, Paul. Anything else that we need to
So
recap on?
we've covered it in a little bit. We looked at the successes, but we also looked at the challenges and some of the barriers to getting the program going. And Nick talked about one we've touched on already, which is actually finding these health seekers or connecting with them in the first place. But I think we've talked about a couple of things there. But what one is in the marketing and the communications from the operator, but the other thing is the people that are already making contact, leads, for to a better term, rather than seeing them as gym members, is looking at them differently. As we said before,
Yes.
It's kind of person's walk through the door. That's a great first step. I'm not going to try and sell them a membership straight away. I'm going to find out who they are, what they're actually looking for, how they want to improve their life, essentially, through health and well-being, potentially. And then, what's the best solution for them? And then get them into the pathway that way, as opposed to assuming that they're going to join the gym.
Yeah, and it's a really important point that you make, or that Nick made, about what other services do we have in the centre that we can offer them that ideally aren't the gym or aren't classes or aren't swimming. And one thing that the guys at Active Mid Devon are doing is they're opening up their community pickleball and community badminton to these people coming in for health seekers. Normally costs, I think, £2.50 a session, but they were like, look, if we get people on one of these programs, let's include that, rather than say, oh, the gym's included as well. If people want the gym, they'll ask you for the gym. But we know that most people don't. But it's also having signposts to things outside. And I always mention Park Run because there's often one within a few miles of a leisure centre, or anywhere, I think, in the UK now. But it's understanding other places that you can signpost people to that aren't necessarily about activity. It might be a support group. We're talking to a few universities about at the moment. Can we signpost people to student mental health or to walking groups or other things that aren't necessarily about exercise or working out or even activity? So I think that's important. And putting our talks at leisure centres about hydration, or about, and there's lots of talks about menopause or even menopause now, and just to get people together, to bring communities together. Yeah, check their health. Yeah, maybe do the daily 100, but let's start to build more communities. There's a lot of talk about that, but actually bringing people together who have similar goals, who can hold each other accountable, is really important.
And that relates to a bigger, wider question, which I don't think we really had time to go into in detail at Elevate, which is, do operators and facilities need to reframe who they are and what they do? So again, do they think of themselves as a gym, a physical place with lots of exercise kit in it for people to come and work out? Or do they think of themselves as this sort of central hub, this resource to allow as many people as possible to improve their health in a variety of different ways?
Yeah, it's moving from transactional and from how many people visited today and how many people are in the gym and how many people worked out and how many members have we got. And if they visited today, can we get them to visit again tomorrow? Because they must visit 3 times a week. Otherwise, they're not going to reach their goals. People can reach their goals by visiting once a month or even once a quarter. And that's part of the shift that we're trying to get. You did cover that a little bit in your session the next day, but yeah, let's not recap that one on this as well. But yeah, those questions. Part of the no need to join is one that often comes up that we chatted about a little bit. We really do go big on that, on all the comms, because it does really help. But yeah, getting that language right and keeping it simple is really important. And then, coaching just beats selling, hands down, every day, not just in this environment.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. It's almost selling the education as well. So if people can understand something and see how it relates to them, then they're much more likely to buy into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just as a summary, everyone got their phones out at this point, obviously, because they've had the Daily 100. It is there if you want to jump on that link. But have a look about the Daily 100. It's there for you to try out, to experience. It was a great session, and it's great to recap it here for those who missed it and want to see it again. Any final words, Paul?
No, other than to say hopefully next year it'll be an even bigger panel with lots more success stories and people involved in the program.
Yeah, hopefully this time next year, Paul, main stage. You fancy that?
No, at least.
All right, nice one. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Paul. And, also, you can go and listen to Paul's Dream Gym from a couple of years ago now on the Your Dream Gym podcast, or reach out to Paul on LinkedIn or through Future Fit.
Yep, indeed.
Cool. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.